Oversharing is a trauma response. Now, this is an example of what people have misconstrued with autism or ADHD or something that we've picked up due to trauma. Now, remember, everything I say on here, I've already healed from it. I felt real proud of myself because I was going to talk about something else, but I bit my tongue for about an hour and a half because oversharing is a trauma response. I was going to share about some. Okay, you know how like when celebrities die and then they have all these. If you search up online and say, for example, 15 reasons why such and such was a horrible person, you have hundreds of videos show up, right? But if you search up 15 reasons why such and such, the same person was a wonderful human being, was magnificent, you'll have hundreds of videos recording there. And it's always funny, it's those who benefited from them, either like, it's always those who benefited from them or have just always been a fan of theirs that says positive things, right? I'm talking about the celebrities that say positive things. And it's always those that perceive, they perceive that this person screwed them over. Like maybe a wrestler or something might have been the world heavyweight champion and this other wrestler might have been performing on the indie scene for it never got put in or something, and then now all of a sudden they're in the WWE and they get a world heavyweight title shot against this person, but then the person says that we'll make them look tough, we'll make them look strong, but I'm not going to lose the match, and then they don't lose the match, and then maybe that other wrestler wins a couple of tag team championships and a couple of intercontinental championships in the space of like 4 years, and it's like 5 years after they were made to lose to the champ, the world heavyweight champ, that they finally get a run, and then they might only get two world heavyweight championship runs, whilst the other guy had like seven, right? So some of them will say like this guy put the word out for me, to get me on the some shows so that I wasn't getting paid $300 a week. I was now getting paid 2.5 grand a week, and they made it even better because within 6 months I was earning like 4 grand a week because of the feud that I had with them when they were world heavyweight champion. And then of course they pinned me and they beat me, and they're earning 8 grand a week or more, it's depending the time frames. And so he really opened the door for me, and I was able to perform in that company. For the first couple of years, I was earning 4 grand a week, 200,000 a year, and then I got all the way up to 500,000 a year, like a decade later, right? Um, and I got to hold the world title 2 times. But then others will be saying he's a horrible, terrible person, and they'll be giving an example of the exact same thing happen. He's a horrible, terrible person. That's why he got the 7-time championship world heavyweight title. And yeah, I held 7 championships, but 3 of them were intercontinental championships, and 2 were world tag team, and only 2 was world heavyweight. So he was a. And then they're always going on about the private lives of celebrities and things, and it's like, for me, it's like this: there's a cake. You appreciate the person's work as a fan, or you appreciate the person's work because they're musicians or whatever, and you enjoy their music. Maybe you bought a couple of their albums. Maybe you've seen a couple of their live shows. You've seen them in concert a few times. You really enjoyed their work. There's the cake. The cake has got it's got the dough, whatever they use to make the cake. It's got the chocolate. It's got the sprinkles. It's got the sponge, if it's sponge. It's got all of it. You know what I mean? And then it's like, if they're a nice person in real life, what that does is it puts the cream and the cherry on top. But if they're not a nice person in real life, it's still a great cake, but it's no cream and no cherry. That's how I view it. But then, yeah, I mean, it's always a matter of perception. It's always, And what the oversharing was I was going to go on and share how this relates to my life, and how this and that, and how people think this of me, and but other people view it from a positive lens. Oversharing. And I was gonna, yeah. So even me just saying that has got me thinking: should I take it down? People are always saying that, oh, your ADHD can go down over time, because one symptom of ADHD is oversharing and explaining and giving all the finer details as to why you said and did something, and apologizing to the people, and then trying to make amends where you thought there was an issue. It turns out there wasn't an issue, and then you go on this whole entire oversharing thing and over explaining yourself in every single way. And it's like, actually, when you search that up, it's a trauma response. So I wonder if our Neanderthal ancestors were doing that. It makes me wonder what is actually symptoms of ADHD, symptoms of autism. I wonder if our Denisovian ancestors, or so obviously that's savant autism, because Savian, savant. But then there's like all the different types. It's just all the different type of human groups, that we descend from, that aren't Homo sapiens. Just means we have more of their DNA in our body than neurotypicals do. That's why it's passed down to us, because we have strong, and that's why there's levels 1, 2, and 3. The more higher ones have higher amounts of DNA in their system from those groups of ancestors that we descended from that weren't Homo sapien. So I'm glad I haven't shared all these examples from my personal life on here. It does make me think: is oversharing an actual ADHD or an actual autism thing, or is it a result of trauma? And not only that, remember, trauma remains in the genes. So these diagnoses only got named within the past 80 years, 40, 50 years for ADHD, and even though they didn't know anything about them. So, yeah. Well, as you guys can see, because I was a people pleaser growing up, but at the same time I would stand up for myself eventually when I ran out of patience. Then I got to the point where I was like, this world's a cruel world, so I'm just gonna, so long as it doesn't harm anybody else, I'm not gonna even think of anyone else. Just do what's best for me. Then it's kind of, I came back to the middle again, where it's like, you think of other people, you think of their needs, but at the same time, you don't neglect your own, and you don't do anything that will be detrimental for yourself.